So welcome to this video, guys. I uploaded all these time lapses before, but I just thought it might be useful to do a bit of a commentary for you, so you could see what I'm doing. So this piece, I wanted to do a classic sort of Gorillas in the Mist type style drawing. You know, I wanted to do faded out figures, and just to talk you through the process, you could see that, I don't know if you saw that, I lay down the fine line first, and then I lay down a fatter line, depending on what I need. It's a foreground character, so I wanted to have a nice fat outline. He's sitting right in the foreground there, lots of detail. I used to lay down all the background, all the base colour before I used to do detail. I don't do that anymore. I work on little bits individually. So you can see I've gone in with the purple pencil, which provides a sort of an intermediate kind of dark tone, which takes it into the secondary light. And I've used this strange sort of beigey secondary light on this as well. You'll see why in a minute when I put the background in. Using combination of interesting colours here, the pinks, the cool greys, like on his glove and on his little skull badge there. Gonna go in with this background character now. Now what I need to do is I need to fade him. I need to put him dark at the top, then fade him through from the bottom, so that he appears as if he's sort of vanishing in some mist. That's the idea. That's the overall effect. And as you can see, dropping this background in this light colour, which enables me to drop a slightly darker colour in for these buildings, using the same principle to fade them through as well. Little bits of detail in the background, doodads, whatever. Now the fades on this sky do not need to be perfect. As you can see, they're quite rough and ready, but that's because ultimately this is a comic cover design, so the big banner head will go up there. So I don't need to worry about them fades being perfect. Honestly, I never really think you need to have fades perfect anyway. Perfect fades not that interesting to me. I'm much more interested in sort of choppy technique sometimes. I think it creates an amazing effect. Okay, on to the next one. So I got this idea, this sort of, I think I got the idea when I was sketching out here. By the way, you notice my pencil sketches are very loose. I like it that way. I like loose pencil sketches. I want to be able to jam with the inking. I want to be able to stay creative in the inking process. I don't want to be inking a perfect sketch. If you get your stuff inked by somebody else, then there's an argument that says you should do much more perfect sketching because somebody else has to ink. That said, some pencilers they do very loose sketches, and the inkers have to be ready to do that. I'm inking my own stuff, so it doesn't really apply to me. I pretty much know what I want to do, and I want to be able to jam with it as I go. So there we go. The bone on this is done in warm greys. I wanted to use reds and oranges on the main figure and in the background. So you can see I'm doing these background characters now. And the contrast works really, really nicely. Really, really nicely. Very, very light colours in the background, and that lovely sort of darky, what is that exactly? It's not magenta, is it? Like dark mauve that I've done those background characters in. Now you'll notice that I've put a sort of orangey key line on Bone Sail, and I've done a very minimal key line on it. Now I'm going over that because it's not enough. So I'm using this sort of pinky purple key line because it really needs something to pop it out from that dark purple. Also, it brings the purple out. Otherwise, the purple can just look like... it can actually look like it's sort of black in some ways. So if you give it a much lighter tone on top of it, it somehow helps the brain to register that colour better. So it's a nice overall effect, this one. I'm very happy with this one, the way it's come out. Done a lot of background in there as well, as you can see, and just a very, you don't need much, you know, just like that's about one tone darker than the actual light background on that. And it works well, it's very effective. Adding details never does any harm, does it? A bit more detail, stuff like that, bits and pieces, more for the eye to look at. Overall, effective. So for this one, I wanted to do an action shot because I very rarely do action shots. Very rarely do full figure work as well. So I thought for this one I'm going to really go to town. Do a full figure thing. It's very rare for you to actually see feet on my character. But for this one I thought, yeah, this will work. Obviously he's got this monster is sort of off, mostly off camera. Lots of tentacles, always love tentacles. We all love tentacles, right? Now, you can see that, because this is all foreground stuff, so again, heavy line work mostly. Bits of detail, don't ever feel you need to make everything thick and stand out, but for me, I want a nice fat outline on this stuff, so you can see that this is what you're supposed to look at. This is the foreground. So he's got a lovely secondary pale green light on. That is going to be, I'm going to push all the background into green as well. I thought this is a colour combination worked quite nicely. This sort of gun explosion as well, I just want to say something about this. Do you notice that I do not over egg this? I do very little on it actually. I think I used 2 tones on it, and they were markers that were running out already. This is where your markers that are running out come in very handy. A yellow and an orange, and minimal, because for me what it is the form creates it rather than the colours. Now you can totally go over the top and it can look fantastic. I tend to come under the bottom. I want to keep a lot of white in there, let the negative space do the work. So you can see I've got the background in, because there's not much there. It's hinted at. I'm doing the pencil work, putting the sort of low lights in, stuff like that. Give the souls of the trains a bit of depth and whatever. You see that cute piece in the background? That's going to be blitzed. I'm going to go over that because it wasn't working for me. That it didn't look effective. It didn't look very good. Got some nice shots. Slightly cheated the shadow on his face there. It would have cast more of a shadow, but I didn't want to blitz more of his face out, so that's a cheated shadow. Never feel that you can't cheat shadows, as long as you give the audience something to look at where they sort of buy it and believe it, then it'll work. It'll be fine. You know, you'll get away with it. I've just about got away with that. That's fine. You can see how the pinks and the greens contrast as well. So for this one I went full kind of comic-y on this. Now I don't know if you can tell, you probably can tell, you can probably see perspective lines. I don't normally do perspective lines. Normally I fake perspective. I do false perspectives because it doesn't normally matter. For this one it really did. So I had to lay them down. So this is very much like a comic page of something where I really needed the perspective to work. Because if you didn't buy the perspective, if your brain didn't buy the perspective, then the whole thing doesn't work. It would have looked very shonky. So for this, what I wanted to do, I wanted to have the sort of at street level, I wanted it to be all misty. So you can see I've not done the buildings all the way down there, and the telegraph poles, they sort of stop. And what I want to do, I want to fade a pink light up there. And here we go, we're coming in with the pink, and it's not easily achieved. This, it will take you a bit of practice to get this, but it's a color transition like anything else. You know, you're going dark to light or light to dark. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect. You can play with this. It'll take a bit of practice. The fine liners come in very handy here as well, because the fine liners just hint at what is in the mist a little tiny bit. The composition of this is, I wanted something in the foreground. So these big buildings that he's hanging on, obviously him, the character. The building he's hanging off, the building behind him, and these tentacles, obviously, they're all in the foreground. So you've got a nice big foreground to look at, and then you've got this sort of mid-stroke background of the buildings you can see over the other side of the street. There's no deep background on this, because I looked at it, I thought it's not necessary. Actually, it's not necessary, because again, the comic banner head, the actual title of the thing, would have sat over the top of it anyway. So I decided not to do it. I just thought it was a waste of time, really. You're not going to be able to see it. It's going to get blitzed out. So I come in with these very dark tones, as you can see there, really dark tones, because I don't need anything back there, really. It's not going to add anything to it. So I'll make these buildings more detailed instead. Go with the fine liner, more detail, and there we have it. That's pretty much done. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys.